Hello and welcome to this video in the series Working with Cloud SQL. This video is about enforcing encrypted connections through SSL for a Cloud SQL instance. In order to get started, let's first create a Cloud SQL instance by going to the Cloud SQL dashboard in the Google Cloud Console and then selecting Create Instance. As the database engine, I will use MySQL. I will give my instance the ID, example, enforce, SSL, and then a unique identifier. I will keep my database version to MySQL 8. I will choose Sandbox as the default configuration setup or as the default configuration template. And then finally, as the region, I will choose Belgium, which is Europe West 1. There is one more thing that I need to do in the advanced settings, and that is I want to disable deletion protection so that it's a bit easier afterwards to delete the instance. Once everything is configured, I will click on the Create Instance button, and we will have to wait a couple of minutes for the instance creation process to complete. Okay, so with our Cloud SQL instance created, let's now validate that connectivity works as expected. So let's copy the public IP address. Let's go to VM instances, where I've already prepared a VM instance that we can use for testing. Let's select View gcloud command to see the command to SSH into the instance. Let's run that command in Cloud Shell. Let's run sudo apt update to update the apt repository caches. Then let's run sudo apt install MySQL client to install the MySQL command line tools. When asked, we say yes. Let's now verify that the MySQL client was successfully installed by running MySQL --version. That works perfectly fine. We have version 8.0.33 installed. And now let's try to connect to our Cloud SQL instance using the MySQL command. So we specify the -h flag for the host. We provide the public IP address of our Cloud SQL instance. Then we specify -u root for the root user, and -p because we want to provide the password on the command line prompt. When asked for the password, I enter my root user password, press enter, and unfortunately that doesn't work. So what is going on here? Now, when we created our Cloud SQL instance with a public IP, Google doesn't by default open this Cloud SQL instance to the world. That would be a bit of a security issue. So in order to be able to connect from any VM instance, we need to whitelist the IP of that VM instance on our Cloud SQL instance. So let's go to our VM instance, click on the three dots at the end of the row. Let's click View Network Details. And then over here, let's copy the external IP address. Then let's go to the Cloud SQL Instance tab. We go to Connections. Then we go to Networking. And then here at the bottom, you have Add a Network, right under Authorized Networks. Let's click Add a Network. For the name, I will just call it Compute Engine, but it's good to give a very descriptive name because just an IP can get a bit confusing after a while. Why did you add this IP? Can be quite unclear, so good to add a descriptive name. I'm going to use a /32 CIDR here. So a CIDR range is a kind of notation that explains which IP addresses are included in a range of IP addresses. In this case, I'm using /32 because I only want this specific IP so the first part, I only want that specific IP to be able to access the Cloud SQL instance. So that's why I say that all 32 bits of any IP address that is checked should match with this IP in order to validate for this compute engine network rule. Once ready, I will select Done. Click Save to apply the changes. Cloud SQL reports that the instance is being updated. Let's wait a couple of minutes for that to happen. Okay, so our IP address has been whitelisted. Now let's go back to our VM instance, go down here to Cloud Shell, and let's now try to connect again with the MySQL client. Enter the password again, and as you can see, connectivity is now successful. In the next part of this video, we will look at how to enable enforcing of SSL, because at the moment our connection to MySQL is not yet encrypted. So if the data goes over the internet, any malicious actor could sniff our network traffic and could be able to extract confidential information. So once we enforce SSL, we will no longer be able to do this. We will have to connect through SSL, and the network traffic between our compute engine instance and our Cloud SQL instance will be encrypted end-to-end. Now that we've validated connectivity to our Cloud SQL instance, let's enable the Enforce SSL setting so that we can see what that changes in the entire connectivity process. In the Cloud SQL instance screen, let's go to Connections. Then let's go to Security. And then under SSL encryption, let's select the Allow Only SSL Connections flag. You will get a notification that this requires an instance restart. So let's say save and restart. Do be aware that in a production instance, this results in some downtime. Okay, so now that our instance is updated, let's have a look at the certificates. So you can see that we have currently one active certificate which expires on May 8, 2033. When you enforce SSL on a Cloud SQL instance, it does not only mean that you need to have a certificate on the server side and that you connect over SSL to the server, but you also have to authenticate yourself with a client certificate from the client side through mutual SSL. So let's go ahead and create a client certificate. I will give it the name. Click Create. My certificate details are displayed. Let's download the different certificates. And let's copy the MySQL command that is displayed, as we will be using that command to connect to the instance. So as you can see, I've already uploaded the different certificate files to the server. Let's now try to use those files to connect to the Cloud SQL instance. And as you can see, the connection is now successful, even though we have enabled SSL. Let's now try to connect without providing the certificates to see the difference. So let's remove the SSL flags. Just try to connect like we did earlier, just providing the username and password. And as you can see, I'm getting an access denied now. I can no longer connect to the server without encrypting my network traffic. Okay, so that's it for this video. If you have any feedback, please provide it to me in the comments below. If you liked the video, you can use the bell icon to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get future updates.